Okay, hello. Hey, Rick, how's it going? Diane, I know you're here. Laura, I don't know who else. Emily's probably not going to be on. But she's probably going to be on tomorrow night. She gets her internet tomorrow. I know it's been a big kind of pain in the butt for her since she's moved. Um, Come up here, it's a little more light. Gail's here. This thing around. Wait, I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know. Okay, so really, I just wanted to connect about the iPass 2, telling you guys, what I've been doing. That light sucks. Hold on. That's a little better. Some lights on. It's starting to get dark here. Okay, so the things that I've been doing, and to help you guys, really get that edge. I don't know if you've looked to see if you've gotten any referrals in your back office, but I don't care if you're promoting it. I have a couple ways I'm promoting it. In the chat box, you'll see one of the pages I made for it. Now, that's actually something I made a long time ago because I did promote it a while back for people to get in free. But I only had like 20 people back there, if that. I think it was only like 18. And just in this past week, I've gotten over 60. So what am I doing? Of course, I'm emailing my list, social media, promoting you can promote your post, right? Facebook events, blog posts, and I'm syndicating them, Google Plus, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. And just by doing that, I've gotten over 60, and I really think I'll have 100 by Thursday.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I was also talking with Ricky Figuria or whatever. I can't even pronounce his last name. He's got almost 300. But he's promoting, he's been doing a lot of Facebook. He finished like a Facebook like free blogging boot camp or something like that. So he created this whole, I was connecting with him. I was like, what are you doing? And I didn't do any of that stuff, but there are some things that I'm going to be doing, and I am going to be finishing up. I am going to be creating my own products. Hannah, what are you doing? I'm making you something right now. I'm going to make you a hamburger. So, anyways, that's what I've been doing, and it's been heating me some really good results. So the next 2 days, remember, the next 2 days, it's still for free, and then on Thursday, they're going to start charging. But it's whoever you have free in the back office, right? Or let's say you've gotten some of the traffic as well. I mean, I have some of the traffic, so I'll be a part of that first round of traffic when that goes out. And we're going to be able to set up our system on the 4th, and then they're going to give us a game plan to market for 4 days, and then the full launch is on the 8th. So, but now over the next couple of days, I don't care if you can't collect a lead, get that iPass 2 free link. You know what I mean? Even if you get 1 or 2 or 3 people to join, as soon as the system turns on, bam, they're going to start getting slammed with emails and things like that. I mean, they're either going to buy or they're going to get off your list. Period. That's how awesome it's going to be. So, I don't know what you guys have been doing, if you guys have been getting some signups, or if you guys have any questions, about some things. I'll let you guys kind of talk. I'm multitasking.
Okay. When you talk about the back office, like, is the plan that, like what they showed us last week when we had the webinar, we don't have access to that yet, do we?
No, that's the 4th.
Okay.
And then I'm not sure if we have access to the back office or just the setup.
Okay. Because I don't see a back office like when I log into the iPass.
Right. I'm not seeing it either, Laura.
Okay.
Have you seen it, Richard or Diana?
No, I haven't seen it.
No. anyone gotten referrals?
I have like 5.
So did you get emailed about those?
No.
You won't
And
be able to
Find out.
I happened to go into referrals and found 4 of them, and then I woke up this morning and found a 5th, and I haven't had time to deal. I was going to mark it all weekend, but I had some personal issues come up, and I just couldn't. So I think what I'm going to do tonight is through one of the guys I buy traffic from, I'm just going to buy some cheap traffic to try and fill up that referral list before we go live. Because I have to be at clients for the next 2 days, so it's going to be really difficult to market.
Gotcha. So when you talk about the referrals, is that in your Empower back office?
No, if you go into the iPass back office, it should be, let me go over there.
Yeah,
How do
Gail,
you get
why
back
don't you,
office?
Gail, why don't you show her the back office of iPass? Show your screen.
Okay. Here. Can you see that, everyone?
Yes.
This is the first time I've done a screen share, so. On the left-hand side, it was on the right-hand side this morning, but they've changed things around a little bit. So it's on the left-hand side. And if you click into My Referrals, it comes up with a list that you can also download and import into your email program.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. That was
Yeah.
another question, or something else I wanted to bring up tonight with the Get Response. When you're looking at that, I just wanted to explain a little bit that campaigns are basically list names. The terminology is a little different than you're used to with Aweber, and it's one of the things I had the hardest time getting used to. Campaigns are basically your list. So, like, if I'm going to create a list for Empower, or I'm going to create a list for Freedom Fighters or for iPass, I would make each one of those a campaign.
Okay.
And then you can start creating your news, I believe they call it newsletter, which is your email, to each of those campaigns. Now, the nice thing about Get Response is once you have a newsletter, I can in fact select multiple campaigns to send that one newsletter to.
Okay.
Okay? And in fact, what I'm doing right now is, and I've been offline for a couple days, is I'm going to create a monthly or twice a month newsletter for people that sign up with me that are going to have an area for mindset, one for financials, one for technical tips, meaning updates about Facebook and Google and all of those that I hear about, just to give them some added value that I can queue up and do all at once and then drip feed them out through, like do 4 and there's 4 months worth of newsletters.
That's a good idea.
So, I can Google that stuff and come up with content really fast and then just queue them up and then release them as I want to. Or set them up as an autoresponder, like a welcome newsletter. There's a number of ways you can do it.
Yeah, I'll get you one. Yeah, they're gonna
I don't know
have.
if that's helpful. I just wanted to throw that in there too, if you're working with Get Response when you're doing iPass marketing.
Thank you.
Well, they're gonna have all that back there on the 4th. We're gonna be able to set everything up, and they'll have all the training with the Get Response.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll all be there.
So are you going to be able to shift your list over to the Get Response from the Aweber? You know what I mean?
I won't be getting rid of my Aweber, because that's a pretty big list. But I think Get Response is a little bit different. Gail might be able to answer that question better than me.
With Get Response, I had to put them in small batches or one by one, because with both Aweber and Get Response, if you import your whole list, they're going to want to ask for double opt-in because of the new law changes in Canada.
Okay.
So I got around that with Get Response I had my assistant put in emails one at a time, copy and paste them from my Excel spreadsheet directly into Get Response.
But like the leads aren't going to like see that they've switched over, right?
I don't think they're really going to. They'll notice it on the unsubscribe banner on the bottom because it usually identifies the email company you're working with. But I haven't had anybody complain.
Okay.
If anything, they're just going to assume that you changed email companies for your own reasons.
Okay.
So, what have other people been doing to market iPass to?
I just did last week I did the Facebook event invite, and I posted in a lot of groups.
Yeah, doing some promoted posts will be really good just on your personal page. When you hit promote.
Yep.
You ever done that?
I haven't.
Gail, can you show her on your screen?
Yep, I did that the other day with the post on my blog so that I could get a little more visibility. So let's see. Come over here as a picture. Getting there.
Thank you.
Okay, so if I now on a fan page you can pin a post, but on your personal you promote it. And if you see when you go like on here, you have this option right here that says promote. You just do that and it costs $6.99.
Okay.
And what it does is it raises it up into the news feed so more people have visibility of it.
No chocolate.
To me, I've done it a few times, and the times I've done it when it was advertising things, it was definitely worth $6.99.
Well. Okay, I'll try that.
Now,
So if you're promoting it, Gail, will it come up like not just in your friends' news feeds, but like related posts or something?
I believe it's based on how your, Katie may correct me on this, but I believe it's based on how your settings are set, whether they're totally public, whether friends of friends can see things, etc.
Okay.
But it'll come up as, where you see those posts as saying sponsored?
Yes.
It comes up that way.
Okay.
You caught me off guard on that question. But I believe it is related to how far out you let your privacy go settings.
Okay. Thank you. I'll try that.
That's why a lot of people recommend having one Facebook profile for your business and one for your personal life.
Okay.
The other thing I've been doing on Facebook with some success is some of the automated software does this too, but I have a birthday app out there. And what I did at the very beginning is I went out and the magic number back when I first created my Facebook page was get 1,000 friends. So I sent out friends requests until I had 1,000 friends. I got slapped a couple times because I moved a little too quickly, but I never got totally banned. And once I hit 1,000, then I started getting friends requests. And I joined a birthday app which tells me when everybody's birthday is, and I started interacting with that. And you would be amazed how much of a relationship builder that is with people that are on my list that I don't talk to that often.
Okay.
And I've actually been able to build some good relationships just by opening the door with that app. That was way before Empower, but I still use it today because it comes up when I first sign on to Facebook, and it tells me in my friends list everybody's birthday that's accepted the request to join the app. And I spend like less than 3 minutes in the morning, and I just wish everybody a happy birthday, each one maybe different, different wording.
Yeah.
And I've gotten videos back. One guy sent me a video thank you. It really opens people up.
That's cool. I'll have to try that.
So are we tomorrow night? Excuse me?
Go ahead, yeah.
For tomorrow night, do we have plans for what we're doing?
Yeah.
Would we like to?
Yes.
Okay. I had to put a smile on everybody's face.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Yeah, absolutely. That, and I want to discuss that. I wanted to get iPads 2 out of the way.
Okay. Not trying to take over.
No, go ahead. I'm almost done. I got Anna's thing almost done.
We did vlogging last week.
Yep.
What's another, I don't know, simpler step that might help?
What's the next step of our steps? Remember we discussed about going through our steps?
That's right. Let me pull that up really quick.
I'll go in the same place.
Okay. Email autoresponder.
I saw that one. You don't look enthused about that one.
Because I know nothing about it. I don't know much about it. We kind of went out
Easy
of
one, right?
Yeah, but I really don't have a list at all.
Well, we know an autoresponder is the quickest way to build your list in this business, right? For a tool. You add the traffic, of course, but the tool is the autoresponder. Because it captures from your opt-in page.
I think that's my problem is the capturing them traffic sample today. Anyway. Custom domain. Customize blog.
Well, we can do.
I know more about this stuff than me, so it's your call what you want to focus on.
It's the group's call, right? Unless JD's got one. Because I put y'all on the spot again, like last week.
Diana, Richard, what you got?
Look at Richard smile. You did great, buddy.
Yeah, I think I went too fast.
No, you did great. You were being too quiet on me, so I had to put some pressure on you. I knew you had it in you.
Thank you.
So, autoresponder, we could get into what it is and how it's used. custom domain, we could get into the purpose of it and how to select a good domain name. Customized blog, we could get into your message and how you decide how you select the graphics for your domain banner and how to set up your customized blog going through the steps.
Yeah.
How simple it is in EN versus having to do it in WordPress or Blogger or Tumblr or any of the others.
Yeah.
I know they're not real sexy, but they're necessary parts of the puzzle.
Well, maybe it would make sense to do a custom domain, and if we can fit it in, customized blog too, because last week we did the viral blogging system, like getting that set up, and then now we want to take the step how to personalize it.
I don't mind talking about that. I really want to get into our products, like either dive into the Costa Rica, the 15K, because the reason why I wanted, I want to talk about the blog. Don't get me wrong, but the reason why I wanted to start doing these hangouts every week is because I want it to be a learn, do, teach approach.
Okay.
What we're actually learning inside of our platform. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure.
And I thought, let's start, well, I want to do the Viral Blogging Academy. Not everybody has a Viral Blogging Academy. I want to do the Inner Circles. Technically, not everybody has the Inner Circle. So it's like, ultimately, you gotta have the products. You know what I mean? People aren't gonna buy from you if you don't have it. There's not. And for me, Hannah, don't touch that now. It's hot. One of the things that helped me a lot in the beginning, which I still do, is I started diving so hard into the products and you could tell. You know what I mean? I knew you could tell. Because when I took notes, and when I still take notes, when I watch a lot of these trainings so intently, I take notes as if I'm going to teach it as soon as I'm done watching. That's how I always do stuff. So when I started doing blog posts, I was putting so much content of what they were saying. People were like, wow, that's pretty powerful stuff. So I would either go from that, right, that learn, do, teach approach, or I was doing, videos being me, kind of, being Katie type approach. So it was like one way or the other. And then when that combined together, people started joining me like crazy, which, and they still do, and I said someone else joined today, but that's what got me out there. You know what I mean? I just stuck my neck out there. Right? So like, I got this opportunity to do an Inner Circle or to do a Monday night call. Hopefully I'll get to do both, because if I can do both, right, I definitely want to do a Monday night call, which I've done a Monday night call before, but it's been about a year. It was about a year ago when I did the last Monday night call. So doing a Monday night call is huge. I mean, that's huge. That's like major publicity, right? So if I do a Monday night call, we got to promote that like crazy, So like what I did when I first came on, I just promoted Tracy and Nicole. That's all I did. Here's Tracy, here's Nicole. Here's Tracy, here's Nicole. And I still do that, And then I highlight Tracy a lot because she's a leader. But what that does is that edification, right? Anytime you edify a leader, right, you get their attention. So when you get their attention, what are they going to do? they're going to open up the door to other stuff.
Yeah, they're gonna reciprocate.
They're going to be like, okay, here you go. You know what I mean? And not that, I want you guys to be like, oh, sit here, edify Katie, but I'm a top producer with the company. Edifying me shows, and then you're on the team, right? People are going to be attracted to that, and they will join you just to get on the team. They will. That's just the way it goes. That's okay, Diane. I see you there. So, don't mute. What's it doing? I'm not muted, am I? You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, because I don't really care about any of that stuff, I have been thinking about it lately, and it's very powerful when you're connected to someone who's edified by leadership. You know what I mean? So getting that email yesterday, I'm being edified by Dave Wood because Dave Wood was only sending that out to those that he wants to be on the Monday Night Call. You know what I mean? Which is a huge honor. It really is.
It's not only that, Katie, but do you realize that he has now put his trust in you for his recruiting call? That's the way I read that.
Right? So does that make you guys look good? Yes, it does.
Yeah, I've already heard about it.
When you edify that, right? Well, number one, people follow you, right? As you follow others. I have been edifying leaders for years. I still do it. Well, I genuinely like to do it. I mean, I genuinely love leadership. I genuinely love it when people succeed. I genuinely want someone to go go on with your bad self. And because my heart, right? Because my heart, I'm telling you, that's the only heart you got to have in this industry. If you lack the internet crazy skills, right, like some of these guys have and some of these girls have, right, what can you make up for that with? Just a big, genuine heart. And whatever you want people to follow you with, you do that. You do that. Whatever you want to sow into your business, you've got to do it. So all those years, right, of edifying, just like, you know how many times I've been on Danny Johnson radio show? At least a half a dozen or more. And why would she pull me on the show? Because I edified, shared. I still do, right? And then when I still have people reach out to me that are inside of her insider, and they'll hear me on one of the shows, or they'll hear my story or something, and they're like, oh my God, you're like famous. It's so silly. You know what I mean? I'm not. I'm really not. But for 5 years, since I've been inside the home business industry, I've done nothing but edify. So that email yesterday was what? It was just reaping and sowing. It wasn't, oh, Katie, she's real special. Because all I've been doing is for years is just edifying people. So I will tell you that I'm not, like I said, I'm not really a big person. Like, people don't have to edify me. I don't really care. I don't really think about those things because I know that I'm so focused on, I know what I want to reap into my life, right? I know what I want to reap into my life. And I know that if I'm not reaping it, that I'm in one of my seasons. And Laura, you're probably the one Laura, you've been creating a dynasty, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Laura has been advancedly trained by Danny. And I will tell you, you guys have everyone here needs to get to a first steps to success in creating a dynasty.
Seriously.
I know that I've been pushing a lot of the Empower Network events, which I expect you guys to go to that too. But you cannot be successful with this industry. I'm telling you right now, you cannot be successful with this industry without attending events. You can't. Like when leaders say attend events, they mean it. And I don't care what event it is. You have to plug into something, because if you don't plug in, like if I don't stick something between my two ears first thing in the morning, you know the chatter that goes through my head? I still have chatter that is like, meh, 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 meh. It's like negative crap. It is. After
Get loose.
all the years I've invested thousands of dollars into my head, and I still get that chatter, right? So the only thing that helps me is plugging in. I have to plug in. So today, and I do it often, I listen to old MP3s of events that I've gone to, either Empower or Danny or some other events. Today I listened to Creating a Dynasty from 2011. And oh my God, I had breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough today. And you know, one of the things that I've heard at least a million times, I know this, and I've been so focused on, you know, just slamming this iPass and stuff like that. And, you know, and I had kids here all weekend, and I was feeding other kids, and I was grumpy, and I was just like, oh, you know, like things I got to do, right? And I'm in like 8 different directions trying to get things done. And when that little attitude comes up, right? What it does is it makes me critical. It makes me critical of others. It makes me critical of myself. So when I become critical of myself, I condemn myself. And why? Because I'm allowing the dumbest things to get to me. And then I'll snarl at my husband, and then an ungrateful attitude starts to rise up. So now what am I producing? I'm producing sprouts of what is to come, which is a blow up. Instead of just letting go, letting things go, being grateful in the moment, this too shall pass, right? Instead of just stopping, which I've done that too, right? We do that too. So I'm a firm believer that this industry is all personal development. If you're not getting any results, it's a personal development issue. Or if it's you are doing all the right, well, no, first of all, if you are doing all the right things and you're not heeding the results, I would look at what's stopping you. It's got to be something here. Or you are in a season, right? We have our seasons. And this is something, right? This is something I've learned through Creating a Dynasty. It was a great reminder today. I actually think about it all the time, right? We have our planting season, right? We have our, Laura, help me here. Why am I blanking? We got 4 different seasons where
Watering.
yeah, we've got our, you know, our watering season. You know, it's like however much you sow, you're going to reap back, right? So I'm focused on sowing. And then what happens with my business? I'll have big chunks that come my way, right? So then I plant. There's still nothing. Then sprouts come up, and a sprout isn't the fruit. Remember, the sprout's not the fruit. The sprout isn't the money, right? The sprout is evidence of what is to come. So you have to nurture the sprout. Like what I used to do inside of this industry, because I would get frustrated. I would work my ass off, and I would produce some fruit, but not the fruit that I really wanted to. And then I would stomp on it. I stomped on my sprouts all the time. Every time I made progress, I'd be like, yeah. Then I would have this moment of impatience, and then I would, you know, I'd throw my little fit or whatever I was doing, or I'd stop writing down, you know, my gratitude journal and things like that. I'll get off track, and then I stomp on all. I can't tell you, I have stomped on, and and this may shock you guys, but I truly believe I've stomped on millions of dollars that could have come my way. I'm not kidding you.
That doesn't surprise me.
I'm not kidding you because
Because we don't realize we do it.
I've stomped on millions of dollars because I have definitely been that guy. You know that photo of that guy, hammering to get the diamonds and the gold. I've been that guy, that girl that walked away. I have, and it all came down to one thing. I threw a fit because I got flustered with something, and I became ungrateful. I did. And then I would stomp on it. But through all of that learning, through all of that time, right, I know that, like, for example, I felt some really good things with iPass, and this is way before iPass 2 was going to come to fruition. I remember talking to Chris about it a year ago, and he was telling me about it. He's like, Kate, you're not going to worry about any of that stuff. I'm just like, so now here, year and a half into this business, right? A year and a half, 2 years. Okay, in a couple minutes. A year and a half. I'm just now being asked to do a Monday night call by myself. Right? Because I did what? All I did was edify. I used other stories. I pointed to other leaders. I don't know about that. All I know is she went from foreclosure to $1 million. I follow everything Danny teaches. Almost to a T. There's no secret to this industry. Everything that Dave Wood talks about, do you know Dave Wood's been trained by Danny herself?
Yeah.
If you listen to him, all he does is teach the same stuff. Now, he goes into more depth with the conscious mind and stuff like that or whatever. And that does exist. So for example, like one of the people, I know when I connect with people when I'm prospecting and stuff like that, I disqualify so many people lately. I have been too. I'm like, I don't even want to work with you. Because they don't even know what they want. They say a man without a vision will perish, right? If you don't have a vision, that's why you die. Ultimately, you may not be dead physically, but you're definitely dead inside, right? So what's a vision from? What do you want? I don't care if it's little. Start with something, because when you actually want something, it's going to be attracted to you. It really is. So I focus on those things. Lately, I've been really focusing on, I'm like, okay, I spend a lot of time watching a lot of kids, and that's not my nature. I'm not like this big baby person, I'm really not. But I like to reap and sow, right? So I watch other kids, and people watch my kid. So, I get caught up in, I know different. Even people that are successful still have their struggles. They still do, right? And, one of the things that, like, for example, when I left my first company, and this is what I had to go through, and then I got manipulated to join another company. I did not want to join another company. A lot of really bad things happened, but I learned a lot. Like, I learned so much about the industry when I joined that other company, because there was a lot of deals going on, a lot of deals that happen inside the industry, people paying leaders to come into a company and things like that. I got inside access to all of these things that I never knew existed. And it opened up my eyes to so many different things. But then it also hurt me too. Because I was one of these people where, I'm like, that's wrong. That's wrong. So I would focus on that person's doing this wrong and that person's doing that wrong. I've always been like this my whole life. I'm kind of like a justice person, like that's wrong, you're an ass, let me smack you upside the head, right? But see, that focus I attracted people that wanted to fight with me all the time. So I had to learn how to let go and just love, and God's definitely done a number on my heart. But my point is I learned a lot of things, and then before I came to Empower, I negotiated that $1 million contract, and on that contract, that whole project blew up in my face, and then I worked my ass off, right, to help these guys out. When I said no 7 times, and I wasn't going to do it, I finally agreed, and then I had a miscarriage. So then I had to go through forgiveness again, right? And these things that would happen, right, they were emotional. So when these emotional things would happen, I would shut off, right? Because personal things happen in our life. We have personal things that emotionally drain us, right? We all have our stuff that, you're like, gosh, you just wish it would go away, or, right? And ultimately, you can fight that all you want and wishing it to go away, but that's not the way it works. It's not how it works. You want to know how you get it to go away? You work on yourself. It's the only thing. You can fight it all you want. You can argue with me all you want. And let me tell you something. When I remember the first time I asked the Holy Spirit, where I was in a humble place. I'm like, where can, because my husband and I saved our marriage, right? So, well, God did, totally. So I was like, where can I do better? And he gave me a vision of me nagging my husband. All I was doing was nagging, right? And he's like, you need to stop nagging your husband. So that's so humbling, because I'm like, I didn't think I was a nag. I was just one of these people like, let's go, keep moving, come on, get over your excuses, right? And what I needed to do was just shut up and let him be him. And when I started doing that, he started producing fruit, which was, being more helpful, or, you know what I mean? Like, so, and not nagging wasn't easy. I had to bite my tongue. That was over 4 years ago. My husband loves me to say, he still talks about it. Oh my God, my wife stopped nagging at me. Now, we still have our moments, don't get me wrong. I mean, we're just like everybody else, right? But he still comments about that. Like, he said that was the best day of his life. And just by letting him go and be himself, that ultimately really helped our marriage. So what's my point? My point is that all these things that can fight us, and maybe one thing I do know for a fact is ungratefulness will shut the door to blessings in your life. A critical, bad attitude, you can be all the positive you want on the outside, but a critical, bad attitude, I'm telling you right now, you will not recruit one person in your business. You will not make one dime, and you'll go into debt. I know this for a fact, people. I do. I know this for a fact. Hannah, 10 minutes. I know this for a fact. I've learned this the hard way, because I didn't believe that. I'm like, hard work. I work my ass off. I do this. I do that. I. But I was miserable because I was a workaholic. I'm a full-on Ruby. I mean, my personality type is so strong. I've taken on other characteristics of other personalities over time. But my nature is bulldozerish, right? That's my nature. But I've learned over time that gets me nowhere long term. It might get me somewhere now, right? It might get some instant gratification, but ultimately, the reason I'm talking about this is because that was some things I listened to today. I've listened to these things a million times. I'm not telling anybody here that not to be condemning at all, because just the reality of growing any business is that you have to be in the right place and in the right mind. You really do. So beliefs and attitudes, just like in the Top Producer, that beliefs and attitudes. I'm in my second time watching that. That's phenomenal. I mean, it's phenomenal. I'm like, I printed up the thing. I'm like, I gotta really break this thing down, because Dave has a really great way of he definitely is good with the beliefs and attitudes, and I know he has a different approach, but ultimately, I know for me, I have to be grateful. I just have to be. I have to really look around me, and I have to look at evidence of things that I want in my life, and I always look for, what's evidence? Evidence is our little sprouts, right? Like improvements, right? It could be like, I haven't talked to anybody for 6 months in my business, and now I talk to one person. That's huge. That's a sprout. And if you nurture that sprout of talking to that one person, you'll get 2 people, then you'll get 3 people. If you say it's only one person and you stomp on that, you're not going to get any people, because that's just the reality. That is, it's a law, right? It's a law. And I've learned that if you try to break the laws, they will break you. They'll break you. They'll squash you. And there's laws of money. Like, for example, you can't waste it. Like, if you're wasteful with money and you don't make good decisions with money, you won't accumulate it. So that's why you got to be faithful with it, right? Now, I'm not talking about business decisions and investing and things like that. It can also be the opposite. Like, you need to invest into something, and you're trying to squeeze like juice out of something that's completely dry. And in order to really get what you need, you have to invest to go to that next level, because the second you stop investing is when everything dries up. I've done this too. I've made huge mistakes here. Like, I'm the kind of person where I have to plug in constantly. If I don't plug in, I stomp on everything. I stomp. I've done it with this business. I stomp. And in order for me to get out of that, I have to start being grateful, and I have to write down some things. And, we all have our moments. Mine don't last as long if I do have these moments like they used to, right? They used to last for days, weeks, months. And then I wouldn't do business, and I would be miserable. But in order to be a successful, profitable entrepreneur, you can't be taken out by a tank every single day. You eventually are going to have to learn how to let life, and things that happen in you. And trust me, I know that we've all faced different battles, and it's easier said than done. But especially being in business, if you want to be successful in business, you got to let it, whatever's happening, let the water just run off your back. And tonight, I think it would be real. As a matter of fact, I started thinking today, I'm like, what can help everyone move forward? And ultimately, if you're not doing the basics, right? Like, for example, Empower has a system. Other companies have systems in place, right? And they have a system for a reason. And for the system to work, you have to follow it. But tonight, I want you guys to get out a journal, and I want you to write down 5 things that you're grateful for, or 5 things that you knew nothing about when you first came online, but now you know a lot about, right? What are you focusing on that's going to make you better? And I know what I'm saying is so simple, and you can say to me, Katie, okay, I'll do it, but you're not serious about it. I'm telling you, those on this panel and those that listen to this recording that actually get out a notebook and take the time to shut everything off and truly be grateful, watch your life completely explode. That's what it did for me. That's what it did for me.
Katie, this jumps back to the 12 steps kind of, but they say even the old timers drink over the simple stuff. It's not that your house burnt down, it's that you couldn't tie your shoes that morning. It's very similar. And I can so relate to everything you're sharing tonight. In my relationship, it's control issues, not nagging. But in business, it's the same. You have to learn how not to suck the emotion into your business daily, because that's what it is, right? You're sucking the emotion, and you're becoming reactionary instead of what I call staying at that 20,000 foot level and just doing what's in front of you, and not thinking any further than that, but just doing. And then by the time you get that done, 9 times out of 10, the drama's resolved itself because you've turned it over in a way and you've gotten back to work, right?
Yep.
And I think where I get hung up and I get taken out with all the stuff that happens around me is when I slip into that forgetting to turn it over.
Yep.
That's what gets me in the deepest pile of doo-doo, because then Gail starts trying to control. And I don't even realize it, except for my results start changing. And you're right, when it's not, when my business isn't coming from a place of love, I call it. When it's coming from anger and resentment, it doesn't work. Because nobody wants to be around an angry, resentful person.
Nope. Nope, they want to run.
I can totally relate to that, and I can totally testify that it does change the minute you change those two things, gratitude and coming from a place of love.
Right. And the fruit of debt, the fruit of ungratefulness and things like that, it all stems from greed. It does. And I'm not just talking about you're greedy. I'm talking about you're holding on to things that aren't serving you. Holding on to things that don't serve you is greed. Greed isn't, being stingy with money. It is, right? That's one way. And this is something that I had to learn because I was plagued with greed. Plagued with greed. You couldn't have anything of mine. I did not share very well at all. I never shared. Now I'm like, here, open up the floodgates. Let's go. And what happened to my life when I started doing that? When I genuinely just started helping people, when I genuinely say, let's pray, or what happened? People are attracted to that, aren't they? I'm not saying that you have to do that. I'm just saying be something that people feel safe with, right? Doesn't have to be prayer. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying maybe just be. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, sometimes people want to be enabled, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that, maybe you need to be someone that someone needs to cry on your shoulder, right? And not be judged or criticized, right? When you genuinely become that person, and how do you become that person? You become that person by working on yourself first. So I sat down. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, me, I'm like, let's get it over with. Let's rip off the Band-Aid. God, if I got to change some things, then let's just change it and get it over with. Well, that was kind of a mistake too, because I wanted to eat the whole elephant. And when I started to really learn the truth about myself, the truth that needed to change, some things I could handle, some things I had a hard time handling. Some things I was like, yeah, let's hold, okay, let me keep that Band-Aid there for a sec. Let's go over here and work on this one because this one's a little bit easier, and we'll go back to that one. So I did that too, right? And that's normal. That's totally normal. So the reality of growing business, right? I mean, why do we get in this industry? Why are we entrepreneurs? Why do you have it in you to be an entrepreneur? Why are you here? Think about it. Why?
Because it's who I am.
Yeah, it's because it's who you are. It's natural. So what does that mean? It means you're called to prosper in the marketplace. You're called to make a difference. You're drawn to it. You can't help it. You could run from it. If you try to run from being an entrepreneur, it will chase and hunt you down. It will. You can't run from it. It'll haunt you for the rest of your life if you don't just face it head on and just be successful with it already. Right? So it starts with the basics. It really starts with the basics. I get results. I'm telling you right now. I can send out 80 emails, but if I'm having a bad week, I won't get anybody to open the emails, but a few people. I'm not kidding you. When I'm focused on my gratitude journal, when I'm focused on my sprouts, when I'm focused on encouraging my husband, when I'm focused on encouraging my daughter, I can send a crappy email and 80% of the people will open it and 2 people will buy. You know what I mean? I'm serious. That has proven itself to me over and over, especially with Empower. It's so true. Like, a lot of people say, like, for example, don't get on Facebook until you've, there's a whole formula that some of these internet marketers follow. They do not get on social media until all their emails are done. They don't answer emails. They don't answer calls. They don't do any of that stuff. They do everything important first, so none of that distracts their energy towards sending out a good email. Because most of them are just email marketers. So, I don't know, we lost Gail.
No, still here.
Oh, all right, I'll let you talk for a second. I got to get Hannah something real quick.
Yep. But I think we lost Laura. Katie proved this theory to me with the traffic, buying it and not getting sales or leads, and then leaving and getting lots of my downline.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing it now. Okay? I finish this call.
It's Katie. Oh, Michael's with us now. So, Richard, I don't know what to talk about.
Yes. What's that?
I don't know what to talk about. It's been a long day.
No, I'm back. Just helping anybody tonight. I mean, I'm kind of talking about personal development stuff, but does anybody resonate with this?
150%.
I mean, does it make sense to your spirit? I mean, because there's been a lot of things that have hindered my growth, and I'm just being very transparent because number one, it's the only way to be, but number two, I mean, to me, I couldn't even fathom that being an issue. If you'd asked me this 6 years ago, I'd have been like, I'd have gave you the finger. I'd have flipped you off. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to listen to any of this stuff. Gratitude. Okay? F you. Whatever, fool. And I'm just being real. I didn't think about these kind of things. I just didn't. But ultimately, when I started shutting up, I'm like, all right, that person's making $10 million a year. And he said this is already all he started doing to do that. All right, I'll start doing it. But in that process, for me, it was very therapeutic. Number one, I found out I could write. I don't like to read. Well, I didn't. I do now. I definitely didn't like to write growing up. stay away from all that kind of stuff. I was too impatient for it. But I found in the process that I knew how to speak and write. I actually did take speech in college. It was my minor. I had 2 minors, but it was one of my minors, and I aced it naturally. Didn't care. Who cares? But I found out through gratitude journal, I started writing, and I'm like, you know, these things just started coming out of me. And it was very therapeutic, and I realized that that's what I was missing in my life, was just the simplicity of that, right? So if you've been doing some things, I don't know where everybody's that person, right? Because we're all on our own journey. But I do know one thing. This right here is necessary every day to be successful. And if you've been doing everything, but you haven't been doing this, that's most likely what's stopping you. Where's your focus? Look at where your focus is at. Think about what you think about all day long, and then look to see if that's in your life. Imagine if you shifted that. So tonight, I want you guys to pull out the journal. Let this be your gratitude journal, sprouts journal, whatever you want to do. But you have to start, number 1, recognizing the things that are going right in your life. And number 2, you've got to celebrate it. I don't care if it's, I ate 1 scoop of peanut butter instead of 4 today. Celebrate it. You know what I mean? Freaking, that's what I had to do. I mean, I was a fitness competitor for 10 years. You know how jacked up in the head I was just about that? I was so critical of myself, right? I still have to be careful, right? Because I don't look the way I used to as a fitness competitor. I still have, you know, things that I'm conscious about. And there's other things I'm like, whatever. I don't care anymore. Right? So I'm just saying, like, for me, it was like I had to celebrate the littlest things because I didn't know I was such an intense person, which I still am, but I was so intense. I was so focused. I was so serious. I was, you know what I mean? That to even talk about being grateful about not eating junk or something, you know, like to celebrate that, I thought was dumb. But when I just kind of let go and I said, you know what, I need, you know, just like it took me a long, this is real stuff, guys, because if you don't allow people to, do you allow people to even compliment you? Do you receive stuff like that? I used to struggle with that.
Well, it's like not being able to meet your eyes in the mirror.
Yeah.
It's a good test of where you're at.
That's like telling God, you screwed up. You know? And when he looks at you, I'm not kidding you. He has shown me what he sees in his people. He's like ecstatic. That's how much he loves his people. You know? He already knows the areas that we struggle with. That took me a long time to comprehend, right? It really did. And my marriage didn't get better until I got better. My business didn't get better until I got better. There was no business. I stepped away from all that. I didn't mentally have the ability to hold on to a business. I stomped on it twice. I would be easily making $2 to $5 million a year right now with that first company. Easily. Not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. Easily.
But you wouldn't be who you are today.
You're exactly right.
To me, that's worth a lot more than $2.5 million a year.
Well, I don't think about those numbers, but I'm just telling you, that's just, it's the reality.
You get my point, though, right?
I totally get your point. I'm so grateful to all. I mean, I wouldn't know, put it this way, I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't get people. I wouldn't love people as much as I do now. I wouldn't want to pray for people as much as I do now. I wouldn't want to cheer people on as much as I do now. I wouldn't believe in people as much as I do now. I wouldn't. At all. But I do. I still have to work on that, right? I still get frustrated. But it sounds like tonight we need to work on really, really tapping into ourselves. When you start spending time with yourself, giving yourself permission to celebrate yourself. Condemnation is nothing but a bullshit lie. There's nothing that any of us have done. There's no mistakes that we've made, even if they were bad. And I'm not just talking about the representation of what Jesus represents. I'm just talking about, like, you know what's awesome? I was working out in the gym and I started crying. I mean, this was a long time ago. But I was in this process of changing, and I just saw these things that I was doing wrong. I was condemning myself like crazy. And then I heard the Holy Spirit really speak to me and say, you don't beat yourself up because you have a heart that is receiving correction. So I was receiving something that was coming from heaven itself that was helping me change. So it made me recognize that I was open to change. And being open to change is like huge, Sprout. That's like huge. That's like hellacious. To be open to change means like you have huge fruit coming, major fruit coming. And so when that hit my spirit, I mean, I cried like a baby. I had to run in the bathroom because I was just in a place of condemnation, right? So it was like that one positive thing just so spoke to my spirit. And it's important to do that. You've got to do that. You've got to speak to yourself in a positive way. So tonight, it sounds like that you guys need to do that. I'm doing that. Tonight I'm going to really, I do. Every night I always write down stuff, but I haven't really been celebrating the way I normally do. And I've been a little bit more critical of myself, and I do expect more of myself. And so that's where I'm at.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah.
We get really caught up in why we're not producing results. And it's so business oriented, but we really need to focus within and water our sprouts and take care of what we've got already before we move on. Being grateful for what we've been given so far. I think that's really important.
Amen. That's what creates the change. So, okay. Well, tomorrow, do we want to do something in Costa Rica? Because I know everybody's got Costa Rica. We want to do something in 15K formula. Or do we want to talk about customized blogging? What do we want to talk about? Because I got to jump on this elite coaching. And so do you, Gail.
Yeah, me too. I'm trying to remember the layout of the 15K.
tell you what, I'll go in there and pick something out, and then I'll post my lead pages in the group, and then you guys can copy it.
Okay.
Just so we can pop off here.
Appreciate it, Katie.
Yeah, I'll do that, just so we can pop off and get on that
Yeah.
elite coaching. Yeah, because I don't want to miss out on that, because they're giving away a lot. They're really going to give away a lot. So, okay, all right. Well, I'm popping off. I'm going to go ahead and